Despite some good that is happening in the world every day, I still find it difficult to be truly happy with my life. Sure, I wake up every day with a smile on my face, and I am fortunate to be able to do what I'm currently doing. But there are still some conditions that come alongside that. I am lucky I get to write for a living, but the money I'm getting is only just enough for me to survive rather than to actually live. I've got to bank on finding more work or hoping that this YouTube thing actually pans out into something and develops into something, which at the same time, that too also is kind of costly because it requires me to be at the mercy of an algorithm while also begging for attention.
Notice me, senpai.
Beyond my own selfish problems, a lot of people are in their own worse situations than whatever I'm complaining about. Some people are being actively bombed or living in rubble, while others are being persecuted just for being who they want to be and preferring to go by different pronouns than what they were assigned at birth. And that is just the tip of the iceberg. But considering that this is all just a self-help channel, I want to focus more specifically on the self-help industry and when it comes to talking about happiness and how to be happy. Because a lot of what this industry is doing and has to say can also contribute to why happiness can be so difficult to achieve. And subscribing to their own brand of happiness can be just as detrimental as deciding to become trans. The reason I say that is because the way that self-help steers the conversation and what they actually preach is demonstrably bad, and actually following it is a lot tougher than you might think. So let's talk about that. Specifically, why it's so tough to be happy, why we end up falling for gurus' definition of happiness, and what can we do about it. Well, setting aside the social injustices, racial issues, rampant inequality in our lives, and the planet that is slowly cooking us alive.
Help! I think I'm melting. This is all your fault.
It also doesn't help that, as I said, gurus are really off base about what makes people genuinely happy. And the solutions that they provide are a mixture of gaslighting, manipulation, and being incredibly tone deaf. If you spend time thinking about it for a few seconds. What is their idea exactly, you might ask?
People will think you're up to something.
Well, it's a simple idea that everyone can be happy. And while it's purely subjective, a lot of what big-name gurus tend to sell is more specific. A loving partner, a big house, millions of dollars, and the body of a superstar. And while these are things that any person would want, spending time thinking about how everyone can get into that position isn't all that realistic in today's society.
You sit on a throne of lies.
For starters, our capitalist system demands that if one person is to succeed, another person has to take the fall. That much is clear by the fact that right now, a small percentage of people have a large portion of the world's wealth. The only way every person can be wealthy is if the wealthiest people in the world became significantly less wealthy, since that's how math works. We can already see that is a problem, as clearly the wealthiest people in the world aren't all that excited about doing that. You're seeing some people donating to great causes and setting up charities, but they're not actively losing much money by doing that. It's just creating this public perception that these individuals are good people, even though certain rich people are doing some terrible things to others.
Is that true?
Of course not! I'm filthy stinking rich! Come on, everyone! Let's all take a ride in my balloon/casino!
So to think that gurus can promise us the same sort of lifestyle as them really means one of two things. Either they're dumb, or they're lying to us so that we can put trust in them and give them our money. And I'm guessing it's more of the latter, given that self-help often frames the work of a guru as a means of sacrificing something. As if them coaching individuals, putting together seminars and programs is them giving to the people, and that those little contributions is enough for them to be regarded as a saint.
What? You want some ore? There, that's some ore!
At the end of the day, the happiness they are really delivering is like a game of hot potato. At some point in time, someone is going to get burned in order to find that relief. Someone has to fail in order for another to succeed. But it becomes more twisted because in self-help, you have the person that has already found relief basically telling you that you want to get burned, that you want to be failing so that they can succeed.
I have the high ground! You underestimate my power! Don't try it!
And that really is a shame. And I say it's a shame because so many gurus convince us to keep that course for specific reasons. Some of those are instilled in us by gurus, while others come from specific traits that we've developed. When it comes to happiness as a whole, we can easily point to specific things that we want and think will contribute to our own happiness. Having a loving partner, having a good support network, being healthy, having financial stability, and the ability to save, for example. These are all very good things that any reasonable person would want, but the ways to achieve those specific things in life is more nuanced.
No, not this time. It's totally made up. Pure fiction.
We have multiple options. We have so many different options that we can pick in order to achieve that particular outcome. But where the setting expectations comes in really comes down at this point in time. If you want to be building a strong network, a lot of common self-help advice is to suggest cutting out toxic relationships in your life currently.
I'm sorry, but you've thrown off the Emperor's groove.
Creating a room for new friends to come in and have those friends bolster you. But as reasonable and as simple as that advice sounds, it's well worth asking what exactly is a toxic person. We can point out to some very obvious red flags, like they're racist, they're a bigot, they're transphobic, they're creepy, or just overly weird people that you don't feel comfortable being around, or they're abusive. But there are other things that are in much grayer areas. Is it toxic if a friend couldn't make it to your birthday party, for example? Is it toxic behavior that they're not immediately responding to your text messages? Everyone has their own flaws or quirks that shatter our perception of them. But that doesn't necessarily make a person toxic or bad. Unless they are causing active harm to you or to those around them, then they're probably decent people to be around. But to self-help gurus who want to spread that aforementioned type of happiness, they would brush all of these details aside. Instead, they would push for that toxic people advice with little regard over your own social life and your own social needs. The thing with this tactic, they establish firm expectations and goalposts with you thinking none the wiser. The second element is our overall sense of obliviousness when it comes to what actually makes us happy. While gurus have no idea what you like or what you're into or what actually makes you happy, we also don't always know what makes us happy either.
I don't know. I never thought I'd get this far.
Often we tell ourselves that if we make X amount of dollars or get to X amount of weight, then we will be happy. It's not uncommon to tie our own happiness and life satisfaction to various goals or resolutions in this manner. Many gurus just simply lean into that again and push this lavish lifestyle as something generally everyone wants. It's easy to fall in line when you have a guru straight up asking you if you want $1 million, or hot girls or guys, or a big house, or all of the above. Any person would reasonably say yes to those in those circumstances.
Shut up and take my money.
But this creates an unhealthy scenario and relationships in our lives. When we fail, it creates this dependency on the guru for answers. We often convince ourselves that we're wrong rather than the advice being bad or misleading.
Am I so out of touch? No, it's the children who are wrong.
And if we succeed, we often get a craving for more of that thing.
More.
We essentially create these unhealthy loops with ourselves, and we eventually reach a point where those loops become completely unsustainable and detrimental to those around us and to ourselves. The reason wealth inequality is so predominant right now is because people's own desire for higher earnings drives them to doing terrible things in order to feel that rush of their bank balance looking like a telephone number. And all of that creates a ripple effect because obviously, in order for someone to get that kind of money, someone has to take that fall.
This is the worst!
The third and final thing that makes us more convinced about this brand of happiness comes down to our obsession with self-monitoring. We don't just want to experience that high that we get from achieving a goal or doing the thing that makes us happy. We need to explain it to ourselves and to other people. It sets the groundwork for obsessing over our happiness and wanting to project it, and by doing that, ironically, we become more unhappy in the process of doing that.
Ironic.
The reality is, the more we try to capture that same feeling again and again and again, the more we miss the point on why that experience made us happy in the first place. There's a reason a lot of sequels to films or games end up being bad. Oftentimes it's because people get caught up in the success of the first one that they're trying to replicate it, that they're trying to do the exact same thing instead of trying to distinguish themselves and create a different story.
Stop trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen.
They want to try to recreate that exact same experience again. And that is a problem because it's very difficult to do that. A lot of people, again, just see through sequels as a sort of a cash grab unless there's actual amount of time and effort and a lot of investment is put into those kinds of projects. So what can we really do about all of this? For starters, I'm of the mind that we need to connect with other people and build up our communities. We need to look past our own happiness and prioritize the happiness of both ourselves and for those around us. This is easier said than done, of course, but we can start taking steps in opening up to people. Go through some of our old contacts and reach out to someone you've been meaning to talk to. Start talking to your neighbors more. Outside of little actions like that, we need to think about what it actually means to be happy and living a happy life. For some of us, it could be that big house, lots of money, and a supermodel by our side. And if that's the case, absolutely go for it. But be specific about your definition and make sure it's something that you genuinely want and not just some idea that some guru presented and you thought, oh, this is just a good idea. I should try to do that.
I mean, it's alright.
On top of that, it also helps to be more skeptical when people give you quick and easy solutions to things. Consider the nuances or other angles to the advice when applying it in your own life. Don't just immediately react when something becomes mildly inconvenient.
This isn't my world. Disappointed!
Have patience and be open and continue to experiment and make adjustments to strategies. Really just make it your own kind of strategy strategy template that you can just use. I love the idea of all of us being happy and living fulfilling lives, but they're not all done in the comfort of some big house while our net worth perpetually increases every second. We need to define what our own happiness is and validate others. We need to start taking steps to achieve our own and to help others do the exact same thing. You don't need a self-help guru to do that. You only need to be human. Thank you guys so much for watching the entirety of this video. I would really appreciate it if you left a like on this video and also subscribe to this channel for more videos like this in the future.